What if like your shrink starts to cry when you tell her like your stories? This is like very funny to me.
So impressive to see you do a performance in French like this. And can you just explain for our viewers like your history? Because I know that you've been speaking French for a long time.
Yeah, my mom put me in a French school when I was 9 years old, and I cried every day. And she said, by Christmas, if you still hate it, we'll take you out. And then I forgot. And so this is my education. I became fluent in about a year. And then as the years have gone on, I've worked in France and, dubbed my films in French and stuff. I've hopefully gotten a little bit better. But this one, was a challenge. I've never made a French movie where I had to speak quite this much.
Right, like the entire film and like a lead. And was there something in you that you were like, I want to take this on as a challenge, specifically now?
Yeah, it's something that I've wanted to do for a while, but I had to find the right thing. And Rebecca's script was amazing. I just loved it. And so then I wanted to go to the next step, which was to see every movie that Rebecca had ever done, which I got to do at my own little private film festival. And then it just was easy. Yeah, it was an easy yes, I think. We had a great conversation.
People need to understand she's not only like speaking French, she's fucking fluent in French. So I had like to add specific words like curses like in English so people would understand that she's an American person like based in Paris, because if not it would be like too perfect. But it was crazy.
Let's back it up though. Why do you think Jodie was so perfect for this? Not just the technical skills, but like speak to the character.
Yeah, first, I mean, like she's perfect for every part. So this is like the feel. I'm sorry to say that, like in your presence. I'm not gonna say I'm obsessed because it makes like too much. But this specific character had to be like a bad listener in the beginning. She's a very bad therapist in the beginning. She's a very
terrible listener,
and she records her patients because like she's not even sure that she still pays attention. So the fact that she would not be like a French person would have been super interesting. And then, while developing the plot with the thriller-ish like situations, the fact that she records the patients was interesting too. And the fact that also she's this American person, this American Jewish person, that probably like the family escaped from the traumatic like history of the Eastern Europe is part of the guilt of the character as well. And all those layers led to the the necessity of like an American actress and Jodie to get the part.
That is the thing about the film that really stuck with me, the recording of the patients and the idea that the whole movie has a movement toward being more present. Like, we're not going to save this for later. I'm going to listen to people better. I'm going to listen to my ex-husband better. I'm going to listen to everyone in my life better. Is that something you've been feeling in your life?
I think in the true spirit of psychoanalysis, which is a wonderful, Freudian psychoanalysis is a great lens to see a movie through, from Hitchcock to all of the other references that we can think of. The idea that investigation, when we think we're investigating a murder or investigating something that's happened with our life, we don't realize that we're investigating ourselves. And that really is the story of the movie, is somebody who goes out to find out, did this murder happen? She's confused about what happened to her patient, so she projects and assumes all of these other things that takes her down this road where she's forced to look at herself and look at the things that she's ashamed of and that she was never willing to see, so that she can uncover a side of herself, a more human side of herself.
It's really well put and a good ad for therapy.
Yes, there you go.
Therapy's always odd or not, because like while you were prepping, I would bring like, Jodie to those amazing, like fancy psychiatrists, like French Parisian ones. So just like to scout even like locations or have chats and conversations. And Jodie was like, those persons were amazingly like brilliant and smart and whatever. And then each time we left the cabinet, she was like, it's not for me. Yeah. It's not my thing. So this was like
traditional psychoanalysis. So it is more about the patient and the analyst and this strange place that they connect to in between, place of misunderstanding, which is very intellectual and not my thing.
Right.
But good for the movie.
Good for the movie, but interesting how there are so many variations of that. Yes. There is something that's striking about this film that we have to talk about, which is the sight of you crying. Your character is struck by some kind of a melody. It's not really quite explained,
Right.
but you uncontrollable crying, shots of your face weeping, shot after shot, and it puts a warp on the whole movie, and it throws us into a real emotional zone. First of all, how did you do that?
It's called CGI. I don't know if you know of it, but yes, it's an interesting idea, isn't it? That, well, all of Freud's original patients, all those case histories were all people that came in with a problem. And the problem was, I can't see out of my right eye, or I'm paralyzed, or, part of my hair is falling out, but only on one side. And
happened to me this morning.
Oh,
no,
good.
I'm kidding.
But this idea of, illness is caused by a psychic malady, and we have to first cure the psychic malady. So, I think Rebecca says it better than I do about this joke, right? The joke of...
To me, it's like, when we mention, like, don't make, like, people confused, like, she cries, but it's funny. It's exactly what I like in movies. It's like when you have, like, an expression of, like, a physical... sensual thing, and it's just the opposite. Of course she's crying, but first she told me, like, when I met her and we knew, I knew she understood the film like better than I did. She explained me the film literally, and she was like this specific empathy that is like a Jewish joke. Like, what if like your shrink starts to cry when you tell her like your stories? This is like very funny to me. It's like, what are you doing? Like, you're explaining like your mom, your dad, and whatever. So this was like, it started like as a joke, and then it became like the plot that we have to develop. Like, why is she so empathetic with this disparition of this patient? And what if, and what if, and what if? Anyway, so it was just, and also she told me like, cannot cry. I was like, yeah.
I cried for no reason.
Like, what?
So interesting to me because you're not crying in front of Hannibal Lecter.
No.
You're not crying in front of anyone else. But so not to ask a crude question, but how are you doing this? Are you?
I told you. See the GI. I'm not
You're not
kidding.
getting to it.
No, it's not. Like,
I'm not
she
kidding.
could. You could. There's like 50% of the show, especially because they were like, also they're expensive to do, and you're like, okay, let's do this one.
No, and she said to me, she's like, no red eyes. I don't want you to seem like you're upset or anything. Oh, okay, just water? How does that work? I don't know.
Just supposed to be physical. And also, this is a good reason to see your ex, especially when he's an ophthalmologist. See what I mean? So
There's like a really beautiful symmetry to the film too. The character grows and changes, but also the idea of something being restored that the character is missing. Do you feel like you get these kind of opportunities in America? Or do you have to go to France for them?
Oh, the cinema world is a big, beautiful world, right? We're all joined hands,
but just say you're going to stay in
Yeah.
France. Just say that we're going to kidnap you.
They don't make roles for you.
I do have a special penchant for Europe and for French films, especially because it's sort of half my culture. I went to a French school from the time I was a kid. But I think there are certain things that we don't do a lot in mainstream movies. For example, we don't have genre-less mainstream movies for the most part because movies cost so much, and when you make a big film, you have to market it. So the first thing that the studio says is, this script better have a genre. This is the genre. Make sure you make that movie.
Right.
And there's this winnowing down into something that's very, very focused so that they can sell it to audiences.
Yeah.
And in France, because the filmmaker is king, the director is allowed to say, I'm going to do what I want. So
And supported by the government.
Yeah, and supported by the government. And this film is a film that has many genres that kind of dovetail into each other. That it's allowed to be funny, but it's also allowed to be deep, and it's allowed to be emotional, and it's a mystery, and it's a thriller, and it's a romantic comedy, and it's a lot of things put together that we're not allowed to do in the States.
And we want that kind of full meal. I have to ask one last question really quick.
Sure.
Have you seen Freakier Friday? Come on,
I haven't seen Freakier Friday, but it's
Big one?
This is the new one, yes.
Yeah,
Jamie
she's in the
Lee
original.
Curtis. Jamie Lee Curtis is a good friend of mine, so of course I'm just so happy for her. I will tell you, okay, so another reason to know how stupid AI is. I went on something and the AI pulled up Freaky Friday, and it said Freaky Friday is a remake of a movie from 1990, whatever. I was like, dude.
We make from
It's a
1970s.
third movie. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it went on about how there were only two movies and there's just two movies. I was like, guys, what about me?
That's